They told her it would be a simple job, a year in the Arctic, cooking, sewing, helping a small expedition team. Easy money, a way to save her sick son. But by the end of it, the only person left was the one nobody thought would survive. Ada Blackjack was born 10th May 1898 in Solomon, Alaska. A member of the Iñupiat people, her life was never easy. Orphaned young, she grew up in missions where she learned sewing, Christianity, and English, but not the traditional survival skills of her people. At 16, she married a dog musher. Ada had 3 children. In 1921, she found herself abandoned by her husband. Her young son was sick with tuberculosis, and Ada was desperate. She needed money for his care. Ada walked 40 miles to Nome with her only surviving son, Bennett, and was forced to place him in an orphanage because she couldn't afford his treatment. So when she heard about an expedition, one that promised steady pay as a seamstress and cook, she said yes. She was promised $50 per month salary. The expedition was led by Vilhelm Stephenson, a well-known Arctic explorer. His plan? To claim Wrangel Island, a remote and icy land in the Arctic Ocean, for Canada. 4 young men were selected for the mission: Alan Crawford, Frederick Mora, Lorne Knight, and Milton Gale. They needed one more person to cook, sew, and help keep the camp running. That's where Ada came in. Stephenson himself would not be joining the group, and discouraged the group from bringing more than 6 months' worth of supplies. He assured the party that game animals would be plentiful on the island. She had also been assured there would be other Iñupiat people along, but later discovered that she was the only Alaska native and the only woman in the expedition after the others backed out. When 23-year-old Ada arrived, ready to leave on the expedition, she was terrified of the Arctic wilderness. She had never hunted, she had never trapped. She didn't even like the cold, and she had a deep fear of polar bears. But she boarded the ship anyway. When the expedition was completed, she would return to Nome with enough money to reclaim her son from the orphanage. On 9th September 1921, the team left for Wrangel Island. Ada and the 4 men were also joined by their expedition kitten named Victoria, or Vic for short. The cat had been born on the ship they had taken to Nome and was given to them by the ship's captain. They took her with them on the expedition, proclaiming that she was their good luck charm. The plan was simple: survive 1 year, collect data, and wait for a supply ship to return. When the group landed at Wrangel Island, the men celebrated their arrival. But as the ship that had brought them to the island left, Ada was silent. She struggled in the new environment. At first, things seemed manageable. They built shelters, gathered supplies, and tried to establish routines. Ada became extremely anxious and withdrawn. She neglected her duties of cooking, cleaning, and sewing. This led to the men growing aggressive towards her. Winter in the Arctic is not forgiving, but Ada persevered. She decided resolutely that she needed to survive for her son. She threw herself into her work, and the 5 people and 1 cat united on Wrangel Island. In the summer of 1922, the sea ice broke, and the group eagerly awaited the arrival of their relief ship. But the ship that was supposed to resupply them never arrived. The new Bolshevik government of Russia had decided to officially make a claim to Wrangel Island, and the Canadian government, which had funded the original voyage, was reluctant to challenge them. Stephenson was forced to seek outside investors to pay for the relief ship. By the time he had the funds, the sea ice had already blocked the ship's passage to Wrangel Island. The situation had become desperate. The cold came, and the group's supplies dwindled. The group struggled to find enough food to sustain themselves, and they were running out of ammunition. They grew weaker, and then Lorne Knight fell seriously ill with scurvy. In January 1923, 3 of the men, Crawford, Moorer, and Gale, made a desperate decision. They would attempt to cross the frozen sea to Siberia, hundreds of miles away. They took the group's remaining sled dogs searching for help. The 3 men were never seen again. Ada, Vic, and Knight were now alone on Wrangel Island. As winter turned to spring again, tensions between Ada and Knight began to build. Knight's scurvy had progressed, and he became too sick to leave his bed. Ada was also beginning to show signs of scurvy, but as she was the sole caretaker of the camp, a role that had previously required all 5 team members, Ada took her responsibility seriously. She taught herself to shoot a rifle and used it to hunt. She trapped, picked roots, hauled wood, made her own clothing, and defended the camp from polar bears. Ada gave Knight most of the food she was able to collect. She cared for his bed sores, read to him, and tried nursing him back to health. But Knight died 23rd June 1923. Ada carefully recorded his death in her diary. While she and Knight had never really got on well, she was sad and afraid to be alone on the island. While suffering from the symptoms of scurvy, she sewed her son a pair of moccasins to give him upon her return to Nome. She also made the decision she was not going to die here. On the morning of 20th August 1923, Ada awoke to a noise outside her tent. She rushed out of her tent and saw a ship breaking through the thick fog. She ran to the beach, expecting to see the 3 men that had left, searching for help. But instead, it was a man named Harold Noyce, Stevenson's associate, that greeted her, and she then knew that she was the only survivor. Ada Blackjack had survived nearly 2 years in the Arctic alone. Despite everything she had done and lived through, Ada did not receive the full wages she was promised and did not profit from the stories and books that told about the hardships she had endured. Wilhelmer Stephenson, on the other hand, received tremendous profits and praise. Ada was promised royalties from Stephenson's book, based in part on her diary, but she received nothing. She was reunited with her son Bennett and was able to pay for his tuberculosis treatment in Seattle. And although her life remained difficult, she had done what she had set out to do. She survived. Oh, and Vic the cat, she survived too. I guess she was a lucky charm after all. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more fun and interesting stories. I hope to see you again real soon. If you're enjoying these daily wonder stories, do click on more at my channel, SeeValWander,